Hello again, welcome to another Parkinson's Walks Friday vlog. Are we ready to start? If you're tuning into this just to watch the Tetbury Branchline film, jump forward 10 or 15 minutes and you'll miss all these wonderful comments from all our contributors from around the world. Yeah, you don't want to miss that, do you really? But there's some very good stuff in here. We'll make a start. This is our Matters Arising, and this Matters Arising from the video on the Dursley Branchline that went out a couple of weeks ago. James finally, Sumac. Sumac MacArthur, who's our channel mascot. You get everything on this channel, mascots as were included. Hello Sumac, morning Sumac. And she's very clever because she sends in comments. James finally gave me the computer back. Something about ordering too many balls online. Nothing to do with me, says Sumac. No, of course not. Watching today, I heard James muttering something about, oh, the same bloke guy must have written my country walks in the Cotswolds book. Yes, I had a little spot of bother with the guidebook. Apparently James gave up after trying to follow the confusing directions and being taken miles from where he should have been. Maybe you should write a Cotswold Walks for Dummies book. I have a buyer here for you if you do. We can all guess who that is. Talking about old guidebooks and such like, Lionel and Mary travels. Lionel no longer has a driving licence, but he still puts some films out, round and about, getting more local. Good stuff, Lionel. He says, I sat there with my book of the old Gloucestershire railways, which did help a little bit on this occasion. We're with you all the way. Thank you, Lionel and Mary. Good. Trev. Trev. Thank you for today's vlog and video of the Dursley Donkey Branchline, he says. And Trev does what Trev does. He goes and puts some magnificent background into it so that you'll know about the businesses, the railway, everything to do with the area. Good read, good read. Go into the comments, dig out 757 Trev and read all about it. Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Trev. John Moore says, good evening, Ron. Well, it's morning here, John, but we won't let that get in the way. John says, I've not commented lately as I usually get to your films when the trailer comments has gone cold. However, today it's different, and I enjoyed your film of the Dursley branch because of the memories that it provoked, and also because of the absolute contrast between today's landscape and those of 1967. Yeah, not as you remember it then, John. He says, yes, I worked for R.A. Lister in 1967 in their very immature computer department, which had been parachuted in to a somewhat unprepared company by Mr. Percy Lister. The clue's in the name. When the man at the top says we're having a computer system, we're having a computer system. No good arguing. Apparently he'd been to a trade show. And they obviously found a very bright salesman there who talked him into it. So he brings it home, dumps it on the desk and says, sort that out. Yeah, good grief. Michael Miller. Yeah, lovely walk there. If you want to go to Camden Dursley these days, you'll have to walk now. Yeah, well, there's certainly no railway. I think they got a bus which shuttles up and down, but yeah, your branch line is shut and you're on Shanks's pony. Mel. Yeah, I see. Mel is a new contributor, a new member of the family. A great walk on familiar ground for me, says Mel. So this is getting spooky. Ooh. As you last had a few recent videos exploring Evesham, which is where I live now, and this one, you're in the Dursley area, where I lived until about 7 years ago. Yeah, you can't get away from it that easy, Mel. Moving to Evesham, that didn't work. We're on the case. Abandoned Railways, our Ron, who puts out quite a few good films on the Cotswolds. He's got one on the high roads at the moment. Ron doing what Ron does, hunting things out with so much information that he puts across. Brilliant, Ron. Brilliant stuff. And he says it's still rather cold, but I'm about to set out in search of the long-lost Central Junction Railway, or one of the few accessible sections anyway. Wish me luck. Keep warm rain coming. Yeah, it arrived too a couple of days afterwards. Ron was going out in the cold conditions because there were some muddy patches there, some muddy sections, and he was hoping that the freezing conditions had frozen it over to make access better. So we'll see that one coming up. Malcolm Richardson said, certainly not a trek for a sat-nav or a misleading guidebook. No, it was a bit of a trial. But journey's end lifted the spirits with views over the beautiful green fields and woodlands on the hills surrounding Dursley. Yeah, it's a beautiful spot, isn't it, Dursley? Very good. Ah, now, David from Spain, all the way from Spain. He says, it's a lovely film today. That footbridge, says David, looks like it was what Frank Hornbury based his old gauge models on. Oh, I see. Could well have been. It's a shame that it appears somewhat forlorn and forgotten. Yeah, I can't see why the Heritage Railway, some Heritage Railway group somewhere hasn't snatched that up, and it's not in bad condition. Very recoverable, I would have thought, but there you go. He said the trip to the mine, yeah, David's been out gold prospecting. Oh, we'll look after David in case he strikes it rich. Not much chance, I don't think, but there you go. Yes. Anyway, he spotted a mine above where he lives and he's been off having a look at it. He says the trip to the mine was a great adventurous walk. Lots of old abandoned buildings, channels, tunnels, culverts, almost a martian landscape. And after the walk I did some more investigation, and yesterday found me walking over the aqueduct. Wow. That formed part of the canal that brought the water in from higher up the valley. Amazing stuff if you go look around your local area. I'm not saying you'll find a gold mine, but I bet you'll find something of interest, which David is doing. Brilliant. Now, this is vintage David, this next bit. My sister had to abandon her car yesterday, he says, near to Weybridge, that's down in Cornwall, about 200 miles away, due to the icy and snowy conditions on the road. Oh, any chance you could pop down to help her out? Yeah, I said to David, if your sister can wait until March, we'll be going down there then. So David then replies, oh good, I'll tell her you're on your way. Incorrigible, David. Oh, right. Donny, thanks, we did a great job navigating the maze of footpaths and wonderful countryside. And a fantastic feast of fences, bridges, abutments, retainers and pylons for us lovers of civil engineering. Yeah, we do like to see some well-built things, don't we? Marilyn writes in, nice to see you at Dursley International, as one of my friends call it. Dursley International. Oh dear. She says, when the train for Bristol stopped there, you could catch a glimpse of the goods shed on the left. That's on the way down to Bristol, yeah, I see. On the left. So I wonder if that's gone now. Yeah, well, we had a pretty good look from that overbridge and didn't see any signs, unless it could be well buried, I suppose. Yeah, okay. Marion tells us it used to be called Coley Junction Station. I understand that on one occasion, with that particular station, the village that was previously named for it, I don't think that was just Dursley Junction, but I think it was a village previously named for it, and then Coley wanted their station, and everybody else at the station, they wanted one, and they kicked up such a fuss. The railway company went down to the station, changed the signs from its previous owners, put on it Coley Junction, and off they went. So they didn't get a station any nearer, they didn't get one built, but they got one named after them, so everybody's happy. Yes, that's what they call thinking outside the box, isn't it? West Country Wanderings, our Paul, he's not given up this whole winter, he's been out there filming. He says, I've just fueled up with porridge and coffee and I'm about to head out on a lost railway walk. Blimey, Paul. And indeed he did. Down the forest and Welsh Bicknor area, and Simmers Yacht ran there looking at a tunnel from both ends. Brilliant. Couldn't get through it, but saw it from both ends. Brilliant walk. Well done, Paul. I enjoyed that one, I have to say. Got this cloudless blue sky, frosty conditions underfoot. Great stuff. Great stuff. Michael from Poland says he loved that Victorian footbridge that went nowhere. What a shame nobody wants to take responsibility for it. The meander through the housing estates, shopping districts and past factories made the walk interesting. Yeah, I'm starting to think about that bridge now. Perhaps it's a listed building as such, or a listed artefact, which is why they can't move it. I wonder. Could be, couldn't it? Yeah. Rodney Masters. That revived many memories as in 1968 I started my apprenticeship at the Dursley Gazette. Watching your film makes me wish I had explored more while living there, but I always seemed to be too busy. Well, yeah, I think a lot of us could say that, couldn't we? We should have taken the time to go and look. What is life if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare? Yeah, something like that, isn't it? Pete Payne gives us a little bit more information here. Petters were originally in Yeovil and only joined with R.A. Lister in 1986. He says, I've had a couple of Lister engines, a Model A and the famous Model D. My brother had a 1912 Blackstone oil engine and Dad had a super rare Hayward and Tyler hot air engine from the late 1800s. Wow. And I trust, Pete, you go to these steam fairs and have them running there so we can all see them, hear them, smell them. Oh, lovely. Well done you. Another new contributor, Sam Woodward. Oh yes, and he says, yes, you're right. Plumb bob levels, which are unbelievable really. Later laser levels we use these days in concrete. What we were talking about was the way that they got the slope on the brickwork. So perfectly right. And what all they used to use was a piece of wood with a junction on the top and a plumb bob, a piece of string, and you canted it over until the plumb bob met the wood, and then you had your angle. And it must have worked because they did perfectly well. You look at those slopes and they're absolutely perfect, so it must have worked perfectly well. I wonder if you had to check it out every so often. I wonder if every day or every week you had to go along to the master one and check that you were still within plumb. Yeah, what happened if the string got wet or covered in mud? Simple technology, but it worked an absolute treat. Yeah, well done. So the film, last week's film, which was the Evesham Park Railway Walk. You know, we went and walked it just because you could. Didn't expect to find anything, but you could walk it, so we were going to walk it, and we did. We found a large bale of hay, straw, I beg your pardon, a large bale of straw in the hedge, one of these big round jobs. And I did comment that if you take that home with you, keep your hamster in straw for a good many days. And Tag Bob Tail says, yes, knowing hamsters, the straw would be good for bedding, he says. But they do eat some interesting things like a baked bean, a raisin, a slice of cucumber, along with unsalted nuts and the odd biscuit. Well, that's very good of you to give us that information. Thank you very much indeed. I'll pass it on. David from Spain then. You had me fooled at the start of the walk because the first thing I saw was a tree in blossom. So I guess it was one of yours from last year perhaps. Yeah, you're right, David. Blossom season last year. But David says it's funny because I was going to mention this week I spotted the first tree in full blossom and a few nearby just starting. That's down in Spain then. Oh, we got up this end, some of the buds are fattening up. We certainly haven't got any blossom, David, so you're way ahead of us there. And David goes on to say, I've never seen a bale of hay that has rolled out to the way like that before. Yeah, well, a round bale on a slope, I suppose it's going to move, isn't it? He said, I've come a cropper with tumbleweed before. Enormous great balls bigger than a car. If you're travelling at night when there's a wind, they can just shoot across in front of you and frighten the daylights out. I bet they do it. Yeah, you see this huge, great... Wow. I never thought of that. Good Lord. Ah, Donny. Donny says, I found an old episode here of Railway Roundabout about this line. Oh, right. So if you go onto the old YouTube then and search for that rail line, Railway Roundup. Brilliant, Donny. Thanks for that. Michael Miller. No, it's not. Michael, I've done it again. Michael from Poland. Oh, Michael. Says, good morning, Ron. Greetings from Poland. A nice walk close to the river and a walk where the finds are few and far between. Yet you can't win them all. I was wondering if that was Trevor doing his best to get himself into another one of your videos by flying a model aircraft. Yes, I wouldn't put it past him. He's always gate crashing my videos. Michael finishes by saying, greetings to all my fellow Parkinson's walks, family, friends, wherever you happen to be. Yeah, good. We're multinational. Abandoned railways again in our run. It says, one of those occasions when fines are very thin on the ground, but sooner or later a fence post pops up to save the day. A nice explore, well worth the effort. He says, weather's improving, cameras at the ready, camera action, lights, go. Yeah, well done, Ron. Yeah, I actually did get out and do some filming the other day. First time for a long time. Ah, now Charles, on that the miniature railway at the start of that film, said, these engines were a lot more sophisticated compared to your normal amusement park ride. They were definitely the real deal, only trimmed down in scale. Sad they don't garner the same level of respect as the full-scale jumbos, yeah, because they're a proper steam engine, built the same way, just a bit smaller. Oh, amazing. Engage on a shelf, Simon. He's cleared all the stuff out of his railway room now. His wife took it over for Christmas, so he's been allowed to have it back now. And he's actually put out 1 or 2 films, which is good. He says of the Evesham walk, I fished on that riverbank, Ron. A lovely spot to watch the world go by and watch the kingfishers. He says they did better than me, but then they are the experts. Right. Sumac saw us in at the start and she'll take us out here now at the end. She says, the sign that dog walkers are welcome with a great introduction to a fun chance to explore. Of course, you know the problem with those round bales is that the cows complain they don't get a square meal. Don't call us, we'll call you. She says, I'm in the doghouse, as it were, for tearing around the garden and making the lawn into a mud patch. It's not my fault it's been unseasonably mowed this year and someone makes me keep chasing the ball. Yeah. She said, nevertheless, I'm on a short leash for now. Oh dear. Thank you for virtually keeping me on a long one. You're most welcome, Sumac. We all know James is a softie. He'll come round before long, don't worry. Film club this week then. We're going to look at the Tetbury Branchline. Looked at the Dursley Branchline. Next one up is the Tetbury Branchline. So we're going to have a peek in there, see what's going on. And then next week's film is another trip down to Sharpness Docks, but not looking at shipping aspects. We're back staying with railways. And I had a comment from someone who, quite a while ago now, regrettably I've forgotten who you are, but you'll know it, you'll know who you are, telling me that when they were a lad and were down in that area, they used to play on a turntable. There was a turntable down there. Now, the turntable's not going to be there anymore, is it? But surely you've got a job to hide anything that was that massive in it. Surely we'll find a few bricks or something, won't we? Let's go take a look. And after we've had a look at that, we'll see if we can hunt out the station, because we know it's terribly overgrown, but we've got a good idea of whereabouts it was, so we'll see if we can spot anything. So we'll be down at Sharpness next Friday. See you down there. Don't be late. Behind these gates there's something a little bit special, unique. A clue, those are original Great Western Railway gateposts and a copy of original gates. Now that's special. So this is the access road to Tetbury Station, as was picket fence, blue brick bridge, old Cotswold stone housing, inevitable post and wire fence. The old goods shed is still standing. Nothing left of the station, unfortunately. There are some lovely features about. Have a look. The old sleepers denote the line of approach to the goods shed and the station, which was behind the goods shed. Well, in front of it really, but behind as we see it here. The old turntable. Wooden rails leading to goods shed and station that way. Oh wow, welcome to Tetbury Station, or rather the goods shed. That's a fine use of an old building. Well, amongst all the construction noise remains the old canopy there. And then behind the goods shed is this, which is the loading ramp for the cattle. It being a rural station. This whole area was quarried in order to use the stone to make up the station area, because it was actually on a water meadow. And the walk starts from the car park, which is the site of the old station. I've got some rather nice touches here, such as sleeper fences. Then in the parking dividers, got a rail being used. The station then, there's no trace of it now, it's completely gone. It was in 1957, closed in 1964, so it's near the end here. Rather beautiful. We're now heading up the old track bed, this direction. Some old friends sat here at the side of the track, although they don't look that old. We're going up here in a cutting, bounded as you can see by allotments these days. Beautiful looking walk, as many of these old railway lines are. Dappled sunlight and old railway sleepers. It's romantic. Telegraph pole there doing some duty as well. Isn't this special? Wow. Built in 1889, closed in 1964. So from 59 onwards they did try a rail car. Didn't work. Goes from here Tetbury up to Kemble, up to the main line. The idea was good, but not very inviting with all those nettles. Now you can see the reason that they chose this particular route, because we're in a valley, so it takes you down into Tetbury. Although we are on a slight embankment on this side, gaining height to get to the top of the Cotswolds. Well, the valley is opening up now, and whereas this track bed was cut into the side of the bank, it's now on an embankment going slowly along the bottom of the valley. Very pretty. Old the fence post up on the top there. Shivering shadows. Truly is a stunning walk. Middle of July 2016. This rather sluggish body of water here is allegedly the Tetbury branch of the River Avon. Fortunately, this time of year, high summer, it's just a trickle. A slightly more believable shot. The local landowner has scraped it out for visual effect. Said landowner. You can see the line of the railway there with the old posts. There's allegedly some rather fine culverts here taking the river under the railway, but with this amount of vegetation, hard to find. But unfortunately, that, guys, as far as the railway is concerned, is it. Seems definite then. Well, clearly we've lost the railway now, and looking ahead I don't see where it can rejoin it, so whether that's a selfish landowner or a misguided book writer, I've no idea. That's a disappointing end. What we can show you is the line of the old railway. Came along by the line of trees there, went over that, and following the trees went all the way along there to Kemble, and it poured in here, which is its own platform. Kemble station, or change, across the footbridge for Cirencester.